there were many kinds of weapons made of earth, water, air, ether, etc., in addition to the modern weapons of fire. Even the nuclear weapons of the modern age are classified as fire weapons. But, but formally, there were other weapons made of all different types of material elements. Firearms were counteracted by water weapons, which are now unknown to modern science. Nor the modern scientists have knowledge of tornado weapons. Nonetheless, the soul can never be cut into pieces, nor annihilated by any number of weapons, regardless of scientific devices. The Mayavadi cannot explain how the individual soul come into existence simply by ignorance and consequently become covered by illusory energy. Nor was it ever possible to cut the individual souls from the original Supreme Soul. Rather, the individual souls are eternally separated parts of the Supreme Soul, because they are atomic individual souls eternally, Sanatana. They are prone to be covered by the illusory energy, and thus they become separated from the association of the Supreme Lord. Just as the sparks of a fire, although one in quality with the fire, are prone to be extinguished when out of the fire. In the Varaha Purana, the living entities are described as separated parts and parcels of the Supreme. They are eternally so, according to the Bhagavad Gita also. So, even after being liberated from illusion, the living entity remains a separate identity, as is evident from the teachings of the Lord to Arjuna. Arjuna became liberated by the knowledge received from Krishna, but he never became one with Krishna. Translation again. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by wind. So I will start to make a little summary about the beginning of this chapter to chapter 1. Arjuna is in the battlefield, and there are two opposing armies, and he is describing the armies, and his master, his grandfather, his family members are in the opposite side. And he is starting to get some doubts in the beginning of this chapter, chapter 2. Arjuna expresses doubts to Krishna. He doesn't know what to do, because his family members, his spiritual teacher, and his grandfather, who is a great warrior also, are on the other side. So he says to Krishna, I don't know what to do. And he surrenders completely to Krishna and asks him, I will be your disciple now. Very well. After all, it's not working very well. And then he surrenders to Krishna and asks for Krishna to teach me, please. I don't know what to do. But just after surrendering, he says, I will not fight. And then Krishna kindly smiles at Arjuna and then starts to try to teach him, to make him come to understanding why he needs to fight and why it is the right thing. And from the chapter 11 to 30, he talks about the soul, that we are the soul, and the soul is eternal. It never dies. So why not to fight? We are not killing anybody. And then we came to this chapter, this text, 23, and he's describing this type of weapon that cannot kill the soul. And this is one of the things, one of the first things that Krishna is teaching Arjuna in this text, that the soul is indestructible because no material weapon can destroy it. is beyond all our conception of material things. But if the soul is not destroyed, what happens when we die? Anybody knows? It's simple. You just stop identifying with one body and get identified with another body. You just change from body to body. This is a simple thing. But the soul is still the same. It remains the same even if you are in one body or in another body. The soul is there and is always the same. The soul is always the soul is always fixed, is untouchable. It doesn't matter what body the soul is in. And the soul is also immovable. This may be similar like a paradox if we are changing from body to body, from maybe planet to planet, the soul doesn't move. According to the text, is because the soul is pure spirit, and for spirit there's no change. It doesn't matter if it is time, if it is geographic from place to place. The soul doesn't go anywhere because it's not affected by these material things. That's why the soul is immovable. And there's another thing: the soul doesn't mix with the body, because there are different matters. The soul is pure spirit, and the body is made of gross elements, and they are never in touch with each other. And I have another question for you. How do we know the soul is in the body? Philos, you know? Yeah. Jai Guruji. Yeah, this is one of the. It is the thing that we can understand, that the soul is in the body, because there's some conscious inside the living entity, not just in the human form, but all the other living entities. You know that something is there because there's some type of consciousness there. He's acting in some way according to his nature. This is due to the soul being there. If not, there's no living entity. And there's two types of consciousness in the human body. There's ourselves, that we call the soul, and there's a supreme consciousness that we call the super soul. And this super soul is the Lord, is Krishna in our hearts. And it's all knowledge, because the super soul, the Lord, knows all about the past, the present, and the future. And we don't know all about these things, because when you pass from body to body, we forget. We cannot remember what was our previous body, what we did in the past. And then the Lord, as a supreme soul, and then educate us and enlighten us according to our capacities, so we can progress in our next body, in this life that we are at the present. And then I have another question, maybe a different person now. Where the soul situated? Where is the soul situated? Anybody can tell me? We already know it is in the physical body, when it is in this material world. Okay. Any other try? Okay. Jay. Okay. She already in the heart. Maybe it's one of the things when we are talking about ourselves, usually we point to this point, because this where the soul is where we are. And another question. What is the size of the soul? Anybody knows? Any suggestion? Okay. Cannot measure it because, any idea? Mm. Mm. Okay, nice. Okay, nice. So, Mataji, you said. Mm. Yeah. According to the scriptures, is 1/10,000 times the size of the tip of the hair. So you cut the tip of the hair 100 times, and then another 100 times. This is the size of the soul. So it's so very small, and we cannot perceive it even with the modern equipments. This technology is so small that it's not even perceivable for our senses, because our senses are also very limited. And that's why one of the reasons that Krishna is describing the soul in a negative way. In a negative way, in the sense that the soul is not this, the soul is not that, because if we cannot perceive it with our senses, we have to have some basis of our understanding, and our understanding is material things. And this explains the soul is not like this, the soul is not like that, because it's just what our experience is based. It's based on matter, nothing else. We cannot perceive things beyond our material senses. So that's why Krishna is explaining that you cannot cut the spirit soul by any weapon, knife, sword, pistol, any weapon of material world. You cannot cut it because it's beyond our capacity to perceive it and to understand it. But Krishna also says another thing in Bhagavad Gita. We can recite at the same time as me. My mam vamsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha. Jai. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. And we may wonder, if we are a fragmental part of Krishna, we were cut from Krishna, the soul were cut into pieces. What do you think? Any idea? No. Okay. Well, you just have to listen. Yeah, okay.
What is perfect and complete expands itself, it's still perfect and complete. And also the expansion is of the same nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just said before, Krishna said, you cannot get the soul. So, if you cannot get the soul, you cannot get the soul. Krishna says, we accept it. And cannot be cut because it's a spiritual soul. It's eternal. Something that is eternal, you cannot change it. You cannot cut it. And the spirit soul is eternal part of Krishna, and Krishna is eternal also. So we are part of him, so we are eternal. You cannot change it. You cannot cut it. We are, but this, that we are part of Krishna doesn't mean that we can join to the Lord in one way, that we mix all things together. Because we are part of Krishna, but we are a separate part of Krishna. We cannot, like in the same way that we cannot mix with matter, we cannot mix with Krishna in this way. And there's an analogy that is mentioned. It's about a green bird that goes inside a green tree. You look at that, you just see green, but the bird is still there and is still individual. It's the same thing. The soul can merge with Krishna, but is still individual. He still has his own identity. Is this a similar thing? And the Vedas say that the living entities always living entities is always without any touch with the material world. Is cannot mix. It's just simply a covering. Like for us, we have the body and we put a shirt, we put a coat, but the things never mix together. We are just putting layers upon layers. This is the same thing with the soul in the material world. But this doesn't make sense after we listening to this. If we never get in touch with the material nature, with this material world, why? Why are you trying to make plans and to fulfill our desires in this material world? You're not even in touch with it. Seems like almost crazy. You're trying to fulfill one desire that you cannot even fulfill it, really. Therefore, we have to uncover all these layers, all this ignorance that are covering us in this material world. Because we can just be happy and really enjoy in the spiritual world together with Krishna. So we have to do something to uncover all this ignorance, all this illusion of this material world. Anybody knows what we are supposed to do to get rid of this ignorance that is covering us? Any idea, suggestion? Please, Prabhuji.
Revive our original consciousness and our original activity as serving Krishna.
Okay. Any more opinions, ideas, suggestions? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's simple. Just surrender to me. Do not fear. Simple. But we can do it. I don't think. At least I've talked to myself. I cannot surrender to Krishna so easily. Why? We are so attached to this material world, to this supposed enjoyment, to all these material things that we think that we are getting some pledge or some happiness. But in the end, it's all temporary. We are not happy. And we think we are controlling our lives. We know what is best for us. But we are just getting more and more entangled in this illusion, in this material world. Because we think we are lording this material world. But we are just ignorant people thinking that we are something else. And that's Jai Shri Radha Kulananda ki Jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki Jai, Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. That's why the Lord have to teach us. And that's why He came to this planet to help us. And He came as a devotee. And anybody knows the name of that devotee? This one is easy. There you go. And Srila Rupa Goswami wrote a poem one of the first times that he saw Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this one, probably many of you know. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratviche Namaha. And in English goes like this. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself, appearing as Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden collar of Srimati Radharani, and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. This is the mercy of the Lord. He came here just to teach us what we should do to be happy. Let's try to be happy. So, I'm concluding here with some aspects so we can have some idea about what is the body in this material world and what is the soul. And there are six transformations that the body is subjected in this material world. Birth remains for some time, grows, produces some effect, gradually dwindles and vanishes. I don't think they are very good things. Who knows? And there are some qualities of the soul. The size, 1/10,000 of the tip of air, is unborn, is the oldest, indestructible, unchangeable, can't be burned, dried, whitened, immovable, all-pervading, invisible, inconceivable, and the symptoms is consciousness and is situated in the heart. I think these are better qualities than the body qualities. I think we should stick with the soul. Okay. I will stop here. Hare Krishna. Anybody have some comments, some question, some correction? If I can help in some way. Yes, Surya.
Just a comment, an interesting thing to observe is that the soul is the nature of Satchitananda, so it's eternal and full of knowledge and full of bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And to observe the identification with the body means exactly the opposite, because it's temporary and it's full of, it's just ignorant and it's miserable. So this is could be a good reason to try to find that identification with the soul.
With the soul. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to ask, which was the verse you read today? Can you read it again?
This last one?
Yeah, not the one you read.
Oh, it was Bhagavad Gita 2:23. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. The soul can never be cut to pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. This is the verse from today. Okay. Anybody else? Oh, yes, sir. How can we nourish more the soul? Okay, if we are talking about the Krishna consciousness, the recommended here, first of all, we have to start chanting. The chanting is the most, chanting the Maha Mantra is the most important thing, because we can understand sometimes mentally about these things, but we don't realize it because our minds are so covered with this material energy that we cannot perceive things correctly. We cannot. You may think that you understand what we are reading, but we don't realize it truly. And by chanting the mantra, we start to clean all these dusts, and then, with the mercy of Krishna, you start to realize truly these things. And if you realize truly in your heart, you can follow all these things more easily. You start to understand, yeah, this is true. It's not just something that is written in a book that seems very nice and logic and I believe is true, but then you can realize it and you feel in your heart, yes, this is really true. Maybe you start to follow more carefully, more happy, more attentively all the rules that they say in the scriptures to follow, because it's to help you to get to a better place, to reach our real destination, to be close to Krishna and serve Him happily. That's why we are here, to learn again how to how to love how to love Krishna. I think it's the main thing is chanting. Chanting is very important. Also, associating with the devotees that can help us, to uplift us, because sometimes we have down moments and we have doubts, and if we have somebody by our side that can give us a hand, okay, you are going through a bad moment, but this will pass, and this is all this is also very important. What else we can do? The service, the service in the temple to the devotees. This is also cleans your heart from all the unwanted things that we think that we are this, that we are that we need this, that we need that, and in the end we don't need anything, and we just serve, and we don't get anything material back, and we are so happy. This is some powerful realizations when we serve, and in the end we are tired and happy. It's just can happen when you start to surrender and the association, the devotees, more or less, something like this. That's right. Reading. Yeah. How does it affect? Okay. Uh, there's two ways to approach the reading part in my perspective. It's very limited. Um, he says in the scriptures that just by chanting, all the knowledge can come to you. So you may think you don't need to read. I just chant and all the knowledge come to me. It may happen. But for our limitation, I think is very important to read. So we start to understand things a little more clearly, even if it is just in our mind. We start to realize, oh, okay, this works like this. At least for me, I use a lot my mind. So it's easier because I can have a mental picture. I am reading something and I can perceive it in my mind. It's still very limited, but it's a process. For me, I think it's a very important process, the reading, because the scriptures also are purifying you, because Srimad Bhagavatam is no different from Krishna. It's almost the same as the holy name, but the holy name is the prescribed to chant. But the scriptures, if they are talking about Krishna, is no different. So you learn, you purify yourself in the same way. So I think it's very important also, the reading. If you can read every day, wonderful. I think it's very important also. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Uh, there's times that we are in this state, very difficult state to overcome sometimes. Um, but there's one maybe more, uh, that can help us, our attitude and the enthusiasm. We may don't have it, but I realized one thing. That was a time here in the manor that I was like this. I was feeling down. How can I overcome this? And I read in a book, and this saying, enthusiasm is very important. But I don't feel enthusiastic. How can I do this? I was thinking to myself, okay, I read. And then I realized if you want something, you have to do it. You have to do to have it in some way. You have to try your best. And I was not feeling enthusiastic, but I was still coming to the temple, and I tried to be enthusiastic. I make the effort to be enthusiastic, even without feeling it. But with this effort, the enthusiasm came. So when we are down, that's the thing that we have to do. We have to try to make the effort in some way or another to change that feeling. And by changing the way that you act, you can change the way that you feel. Just some idea. Okay. Also, yeah, I think they are both connected. You can do something externally and help internally, but sometimes you can do also something internally and helps externally. I think they are connected in some way. I don't know how to explain it in a better way. I think in the end, you make the effort, and Krishna does the rest. Does the rest. But you have to do the effort. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just to feel good. Is to read. To do some physical exercise. Doesn't matter. You have to do the effort, and Krishna helps with the rest. I think sometimes it's more simple that we think. It's just we have to make the effort. Just simply, as that. Doesn't matter what it is. The effort have to be there. Mhm. Okay.
Comment that my understanding is that with these things, right? There's always the interchangeability and the connectivity and correlation between the bodies and like the different layers of the body. So, for example, you have the mind. So what you're thinking is affecting how you're feeling. How
Mhm.
you're feeling is affecting how your body what your body does. So in the
Mhm.
same way, if we go the other direction. So how you act with your body, you act as if you're enthusiastic. But that might go the other way. So you can start feeling enthusiastic,
Mm.
start thinking enthusiastically.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And especially if you can feel it and you go both ways. If you try to think enthusiastically, try to act enthusiastically, you might start feeling
Mhm.
enthusiastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. Yeah, I think it's like that. Okay. Yes, please. Mm. Okay. Oh, the fight is a story of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Yes. Well, can you repeat? I didn't understood. Yes. Mm-hmm. the people can be hurt physically, but here there's a higher purpose. And the higher purpose here is to establish religion, to establish a good ruler, a good king, because in power were the Arjuna's uncle and his cousins, and they were not doing a very good job. So Krishna tried, and the Pandavas, the five brothers, including Arjuna, they tried to remediate the situation in some way, but they couldn't do it. In the last resort, it was a war between them, so that peace can be established again, that the religious principles can be established again. So there's an hierarchy. It's more important than the temporary suffering of a body in relation with the higher cause that is given by Krishna, that is God. So in this case, the soul is in everybody's body, and this is the identity of the person. The body is just a vehicle. So you may suffer, but you get another body. Physical body or spiritual body. Doesn't matter. It's just a temporary suffering. And we, even without being killed or in the fight, we are already suffering. It's just a little more suffering for a higher purpose. I don't know. Maybe I didn't explain correctly. Do you? Okay. Mm. Mm. Can you clarify a little better? Yes. It's not that is not important. Is temporary, and our original place is in the spiritual world. We are just in this material world because we want to be gods. We want to enjoy apart from Krishna, from God. That's why we are in this material world. And then by enjoying, we get more and more entangled in this material world. We get more covered and covered by illusion. That is not important. Have some function. This function is to teach us to go back home to Krishna. And majority of the times we just learn by suffering. Because if we are always happy in this material world, if we are good, I have a good life, I don't suffer, I don't this, I don't want to go to my original position, to my original place. And if we have some sufferings, we start to think, oh, what is this? I don't like this. What is more than this? Maybe there's something better. And these little sufferings in the material world, in the material body, is helping us to grow. To grow because we are starting to search for something higher, something better, and is guiding us in some way to the right direction. I answered more or less. Okay. Anything else? If I can. Okay, please.
One thing you might be maybe should be understood about this part is very particular war, a holy war, because God was there personally. So it is said that everyone who was slain on the battlefield actually attained liberation.
Okay, pacified now. Check. Okay, check. Thank you, bro. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. In the context, okay. Check. Okay. Anything else? We stop here. Just 5 minutes left to start. So, thank you all. Hare Krishna. Go after. Am I doing it?
No, we will not do that.
Am I doing it? Hurry up, hurry up. Are you good with these mechanical things?
I don't know. I tried to adjust it and I didn't move, but then I did like this. It's good like this?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, it's okay.
found the time to prepare.
Yeah, that's why this one I accepted before I knew I had to do the book question and another essay and another essay. And
Too much.
yeah, yeah. Oh, Krishna. Last week I was Thursday. Thursday or Friday I was I have to prepare a class. I have to prepare a class and then I have to write an essay. I have to study for that. That was the question.
Tomorrow I have to go. We have to do Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, because it will be Tuesday and then Wednesday. Yes. Now I have to focus on Bhakti Shastra, nothing else.
I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish soon. I'm going to
Yeah.
go.
I'm afraid about the shlokas. Because this week I cannot do again the tests, the test again, the shlokas test. It's tomorrow. I memorize the next one. So
Just next week. It's a Monday. No, it's not on Mondays now. It's a month.
at least in our schedule, it's
Shri Shri Radha Gokul Nanda Bhagavan ki jai. Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Shri Shri Gonitai ki jai. Ke bajayo jaya Gaura Chande Rarati Kashobha Ke bajayo jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kashobha Janavithatavane Jagamanalobha Janavithatavane Ache Gorachan Ratna Simasane Basi Ache Gorachan Ratna Simhasane Arati Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Adi Korena Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adi Khori Chamara Dhulaya Hare Adi Khori Chamara Dhulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Madhu Kojadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Madhu Kojadigaya Shankha baje ghanta baje baje karathala Shankha baje ghanta baje baje karathala Madhura Vedanga Baje Paramarasala चन्द्रजिने वदन उज्ज्वल बाहु कोटि चन्द्रजिने वदन उज्ज्वल Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Namine Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhagyacharya Katharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastani Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastani Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivastani Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Maharaj Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Shri Srimadi's Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopnath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Gaura Shri Gauranga Shri Prabhupada. So, now please be seated. We'll have the prayer and arati for Lord Nrsimhadev. So, and after that there will be Mahaprasad in the reception. Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Prabhupada ki jai. So now there will be Mahaprasad ready in the reception, I think. So we can go. And the next darshan is at 9 o'clock, I believe, correct? Yes. Thank you for attending this evening's program.